Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapter 212. When we last left our heroes, lots of tragedy, as our chapter title said, happened, as we found out what happened to Elsie in the climax of 210, being that Jesse had arrived to torment her and eventually take her in for torture and questioning, and then Goen and Hyoga arrived. Jesse set a trap for them, killed them, but Hyogen's dying move also killed Jesse and freed Elsie, leaving her alone amidst the corpses of her crew members, just wondering why it is always her that leads to all this death. Meanwhile, Justice and Homura start to fight Acnoella, as Homura sort of does not want to lead the dragons to the mother room, and Justice has some false beliefs about Homura thanks to Jesse's actions. And back at the Eden Zero, Hermit desperately needs some of Elsie's medical records for reasons we don't quite understand, but we'll see more about that here, I hope, in chapter 212, Mobius. And our picture here is of Elsie in this sort of elaborate, fancy gown going up these, the foyer steps of a mansion. But we open right with Hermit, who is going through those medical records. And we see them. Minor bruising over entire body, signs of hypothermia and mild dehydration due to malnutrition, damage to right ocular fundus because the eye. But Hermit yells, "No! I'm not looking for the write-up of her physical condition. I need a video record. What was it Elsie said?" Okay. But we don't get any more info on that because we cut back to the dragon battle, as Justice is squaring off against Acnoella. But Acnoella just sort of levitates above him, and declares, "My children, see your mother's enemies." And she goes, straight into an overdrive form, appearing less like the three-eyed goggles are gone, the long dress is gone, and a bit more like standard Eden Zero spacesuit with this, horned head piece going on. "See your mother's enemies and exterminate them." I do love the shot, though, the dragons behind her about to swarm onto Justice. And they all start shooting their lasers at Justice, blowing up the dragon that he is standing on. Justice, though, darts away as Homura notes, "The dragons attacked a fellow dragon?" But one of the dragons comes for Homura next and fires its laser. But Homura just dodges out from all of the laser beams, and activates a kind of almost Ether Gear overdrive. It reminds me of her overdrive move she used on Milani, I think. Through the Night Gear, though. Odin Strike! And she spawns all of these swords that she then throws at the dragons, destroying a good number of them. Or no, not a good number of them. As the smoke clears, Homura notes in frustration, "Even with my strongest technique, the best I can manage is to defeat one. I must go after the source." And we see Justice also headed towards Acnoella. And he throws a punch that Acnoella just blocks with her elbow. And Justice questions, "Where are you breeding all these dragons, Acnoella?" Which is not a question anyone's really been thinking about, but I guess it is the sort of thing the government would be concerned with. Though I thought dragons were robots and were just sort of created. I don't know. But Acnoella teases, "You haven't figured it out? Foolish boy." And we see 3 of her fingers light up, coinciding with 3 little circles on Justice that blow up and send him flying back. Gwah! "I produced them right here, on Lendard." Okay, so yeah, they are produced. They're not really bred. Shocking Justice. What? Not all of them, of course. Dragons have been coming into being and forming falls at the borders between cosmoses since time immemorial. That's interesting. The way she puts it there, it almost sounds like dragons spawn. But that also sets up a contrast between, or a sort of split between these sort of produced dragons and their more natural counterparts. But Acnoella goes on, "But they are no longer the only dragons. I have found a way to produce my own. The Lendard Kingdom's greatest invention, the perpetual mecha soldier birthing machine, more commonly known as Mobius." That's what Elsie tried to stop. And even Justice, with all his hate for Elsie, I think can see stopping Mobius as, like, being a good thing. But development was halted on that. Publicly, yes. But the project continued behind closed doors. If Princess Elsie, or rather, if Elsie hadn't started her little rebellion, it would have been completed 3 years sooner, at least. So, like, even Acnoella there is, like, saying, yeah, Elsie was important to stopping my plans in the short term, but not in the long term, as I'm sure Elsie will be horrified to find out that, you know, going on to her sort of is all I do bring death sort of, you know, mental spiral from last week. I don't think she's gonna take the news that, like, even all that death didn't actually help in the end. She's not gonna take that news well. And Justice questions, so you stole Mobius, and have been creating dragons ever since? Stole? How dare you? It was I who invented it. Are we about to find out that, like, she's Elsie's mother? We don't quite know how involved the royal family was in this project, but I think it might be a possibility. I am currently loaning it to Lord Ziggy, but Mobius belongs to me. And Justice reacts, you're a Lendardian? And Acnoella stops. That's enough discussion. And summons a dragon right over Justice. That is a cool fucking panel, as it, like, roars at him. As Justice reacts, no. And Homura calls Justice! And she saves him right in the nick of time, shocking Justice, who again believes her to be some evil, you know, seductress murderer. Homura. And the laser fires. Oh no, I think it hits the Night Gear. Homura seems to survive it and is, like, shielding Justice. But Homura still screams, ah! And Justice questions why. Why did you help me? And Acnoella just comments, I have no use for human children. They are nothing but trouble. I prefer machines. Oh, she is so Elsie's mother. She is so Elsie's mother. All of them listen to their mother. Yeah, she's Elsie's mom. There is no way we're not getting that twist again. Which, like, also is a bit of a callback to, you know, even more tying in Urza and Elsie together. You know, because the twist of Urza's mother being the first Dragon Slayer, then we have Elsie's mother as the mother of dragons. There's a lot of similarities there. Not much else similar beyond just sort of the shared sort of daughter of dragons. But still, it's the kind of callback I expect Mashima would make. Unless it's a fake out. We'll see. I am the mother of dragons. I have forsaken my human form and become a god. As another blast, you know, wrecks the surface, Justice, I'm assuming Homura both fall into the ground. Justice picks himself up from the rubble. And Homura, the Night Gear is sort of broken open, which is bad news for the mothers in the mother room. But Homura is hurt but alive and is open to the elements as Justice goes to her. Homura! And then falls to his knees as Acnoella continues to monologue. I have laid waste to countless planets, countless peoples, with the overwhelming might of my dragons. What should I care for the human realm? As long as I have my children, my dragons, I will always be a mother. Now the festival of chaos has only just begun. This universe will belong to us. I want more blood, more flesh, a shining crown of glory for Lendard. Because, you know, she's the Queen of Lendard. And Justice puts the pieces together. It can't be. Or you. And Acnoella just smiles. But that's not possible. My name is... And then we see a line start to, like, rise up from her center, shocking Acnoella. And Elsie just splits her in half. Okay. And Elsie just glares as Justice reacts. Elsie! And Elsie readies... oh no, those are mechanical arms. That might be Acnoella. Still alive, readying like a grand chariot. But Justice calls, stop! That's actually Queen Shaya Lendard. Oh no, it is Elsie who's doing it. 7 stars, leave your mark. And Acnoella just bells, no, don't. as Justice begs, "She's your mother." "I know." Leaving absolutely no mercy there. Grand Chariot. And devastates Acnoella. Shocking Acnoella and Justice. Acnoella, I think, is maybe dead. As Elsie just says, "I'll be taking Mobius now." And that's where we leave off? Okay. So, it feels like Mashima's leaning really, really hard into is Elsie the true enemy? And I still don't think so. I think this is all just a big red herring. That feels to me like what Mashima is going for. I will say, though, it feels like Acnoella, like that's the end of Acnoella, which, I don't know, I'm trying to work out, like, it's an interesting contrast to Elsie and Irene, at the very least. You know, the idea of the Irene mystery, like, stopped the story for so long, back in Alvarez, and then, you know, we find out that Acnoella is Elsie's mother in the same chapter that she dies in. I don't know, I'm gonna check the wiki and see if the wiki, like, believes that she's dead, or if it's still in a sort of, unknown state. Nope, it says deceased, which, like, it might be wrong. It's not, this is hardly, like, word of God or nothing. But it's still, like, I don't know. It feels like that's the end for her, which is real all of a sudden. And, like, you know, Eden Zero at times does go very sort of quick with the deaths, as we saw, you know, last chapter as Go and Hyoga and Jessie all died, or the climax of the Aoi War as Oasis members were, like, dropping left and right. And we sort of see that again here with where did my train of thought go? With Acnoella's death. And I'm not, like, it's, on the one hand, it's a plot beat that, like, Mashima has done before. And so I understand why he would sort of, like, not feel the need to, like, go through it super fast. But also, like, tying into the thing that Elsie said last week, the whole, people keep dying around me, including her mother and father. The fact that she kills her mother so fast, like, is a little weird, you know? Unless she might... So, my theory for the I'll be taking Mobius now is that my initial theory is that Elsie wants to destroy it, once and for all. Mashima's framing things to make us think that maybe Elsie is the big bad here, but she's not. She wants to destroy Mobius once and for all. But my question is, you know, we know that this mysterious true enemy can possess people, right? Because that's what happened to Ziggy. So what if that's happening to Elsie right now? What if the true enemy is behind this as well? I don't know. I'm not quite sure that would, like... I don't know. It still just feels weird to me how fast Acnoella fell. Like, Crow... I mean, it's the same thing with Cure, because both of them are enemies that, like, have big potential and to, like, be an emotional crux, right? For the story for a while. They could both, like, not so much Crow, but Cure and Acnoella could both be big villains. And so the fact that they're taken out so fast, both of them, like, Cure dies supposedly, again, we still don't quite know. But Cure is seemingly killed, like, 2 chapters after revealing just who he is. And Acnoella here is killed, like, the page that she dies on. Or no, she is killed the page that she dies on. She's revealed the page that she dies on. That was my point. And it's just an interesting little thing Mashima's doing there. I'm not quite sure if it's fully working in his favor. But, like, what we get, you know, every time he does this, we're, like, treated to an even more tantalizing mystery. as we see with Elsie and this true enemy. So, like, for now, it's working. And the fight is, like, very engaging, especially the Justice and Homura part, and once Elsie shows up, that mystery, like, grabs you by the throat. So it's objectively, it's a very good chapter. It's just that getting rid of Acnoella so fast, not even, like, in the way that she dies, not even like, oh, this is so bullshit, but, like, in the fact that she's killed off so fast after her true and real introduction is interesting to me. I'm curious what exactly Mashima's planning with all this. Also, I wish we got a little more conflict between Homura and Justice, given what Justice believes about Homura. And, like, I hope Mashima doesn't just say, oh, Justice, you know, given how hard-headed Justice always is, it would be weird if he's just like, oh, maybe Jesse was wrong. It feels like a cheap and easy way to, like, sweep conflict aside, even though Jesse was wrong, and Jesse was the one who killed Creed. I don't know. It remains to be seen what Elsie's arrival means for the story here, how this ties into what's going on with Hermit back in the medical record room, and how all of this will impact justice in general. Seeing Elsie kill her mother and end the monarchy on Lendard again, and whatever Homura has to say about what happened with Jesse and Creed, all of that are very interesting. All of those are interesting things to sort of keep an eye on going forward, even if Acnoella's sudden demise is, well, sudden. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes it happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!